To select stitches, you're going to find that your finger or your stylus will work great, and sometimes not just your finger, but maybe your fingernail kind of has a nice little point to it. Now, anytime you pick a stitch, you'll notice that the stitch will be highlighted with a white box, and it will also show in the side here. Now, as I scroll up, okay, just because I can't see the stitch that has the white box around it doesn't mean that I'm not on that stitch. So this is really the true area of seeing which stitch you have selected. If you want more of these stitches to show, this little arrow here will open up a bigger window because there's so many stitches you might not be able to see them all, and sometimes seeing more at a glance is easier to find the one you're looking for. When you pick it, it'll tell you like what foot to use, the settings that are optional for it or that are set up for it, anything else that's pertinent to that stitch, and it's really nice. I also like that when I pick a stitch, certain of these functions are grayed out because they are not available for that stitch, so I'm not confused of which ones are and which ones aren't. I love that feature there. So in this main area here, where your straight stitches, these are kind of like your utility stitches. When you want to go to decorative stitches, that's what the little kind of decorative wave is. You're going to get into where folders are, and in these folders are more decorative stitches. What I'm doing to make this scroll, you're noticing that it's going to look like you select the stitch, but you have not. I'm touching and dragging across the screen. And if you even give it a little push, it'll roll all the way down. I always feel like I'm on Wheel of Fortune or The Price is Right, giving that wheel a spin there. So whatever stitch, look, I'm still on a straight stitch because I actually have not touched any of these stitches. I've only touched and dragged and moved across my screen. So not until I actually choose a stitch will that actually show up. So when I want to go back to those decorative stitches, I can do a couple things. Notice that you have kind of these little segments that have popped out. If I just want to go back one level, touch the decorative stitch, and I'll be able to go back to the previous screen. I could go into another one, and this would also take me back. So you can touch either this decorative stitch or this decorative stitch to kind of get you back to the main folders where all the decorative stitches are kind of grouped together. Speaking of grouping, when you look here, you're going to notice there's nothing in here for all your quilt stitches, and that's because right down here, there's a picture of a quilt block. You actually have your own little tab for all the quilting stitches. Here, let's open that all the way up. I love all the stitches that they give us here. Straight stitch, hand look quilt stitches, we'll do that in a video. A variety of different blanket stitches, feather stitches, and then we'll go into why you have so many different straight stitches here and what they're going to do when you see them stitched out. Your alphabets, those you'll have your own tab for. As you go into here and you do a plus, that's how we can open up a memory, and then we can do A, B, C, spell your name, do capitals with spaces, numbers, punctuation, that type of thing. And then if we want to, we'll just close out that. And then our buttonholes will also have its own section. Remember what I talked about having only functions that are appropriate for that stitch? Notice other things are grayed out, and now my buttonhole functions are active, allowing me to, for example, put a button right here on the screen, make that button picture match my button, and when I go ahead and go sew, it's going to do exactly that length, 21 millimeters automatically with my buttonhole foot that it tells me to put on. I almost just sew with my hands in my lap for buttonholes, really fun and easy. I always recommend that you take some time to stitch out your decorative stitches because they're going to look 10 times better stitched out than they will just on the screen here. You're going to be like, oh yeah, look at these decorative stitches. I have no idea where I'll use those. But see them on fabric and it's a whole nother world. Remember, if you want to get back to a straight stitch, go back up to kind of your straight and zigzag or utility tab, touch number 1, and you're back to a straight stitch. I also know people turn their machine off and turn it back on, and that also will return them back to a straight stitch, but it doesn't have to be that hard. So choosing decorative stitches, super easy. These are your tabs. Whatever shows here is what you're going to get stitched out.